I never thought I'd be the guy to catch his wife cheating, especially not in such a crazy, convoluted way. My name's Jake, and I was pretty confident my marriage to Lisa was solid. We'd been together for about 5 years, and honestly, I thought we were good. Sure, she could be a bitch sometimes, bossy, manipulative, quick to dismiss my feelings, but I brushed it off as her being strong-willed. We had our routine, I worked hard, she worked hard, and everything seemed normal. Until it was. It started with little things. She'd be late coming home from work, and her phone would be tucked away more than usual, screen down all the time. I'd ask her about it and she'd brush me off, saying she was busy or tired. I was busy too, so I didn't push much. But then I noticed her messages were more frequent, her calls more secretive. She'd get defensive if I asked who she was talking to, which was unlike her. Usually, she'd share everything, or at least be honest about who she was chatting with. But suddenly, she'd clam up and give me that bitchy glare, telling me I was paranoid. Things got worse. When I started noticing her smell different sometimes, like she'd been somewhere she shouldn't have. I'd catch her with lipstick smudges on her collar and she'd lie, saying she'd gone out with her friends. That's when I began feeling uneasy, but I didn't have concrete proof. Just gut feelings and a growing suspicion that something was off. One night, I was working late on my laptop in the living room. I noticed her phone was lying face down on the table, and her email notifications kept popping up. I was about to ignore it when a message flashed on the screen briefly. I caught a glimpse of a name I didn't recognize, Mark, and a message that said, "Can't wait to see you tonight," followed by a winky emoji. My stomach sank. My mind raced. That was not a casual work contact. That was someone she was clearly meeting or planning to meet. I froze, staring at the screen, my heart pounding. I didn't want to jump to conclusions, but deep down I knew this was huge. I quickly looked away and tried to act normal, pretending I didn't see anything. But I couldn't shake the feeling that I'd just found. Something terrible. I knew I had to confront her soon, but I wasn't ready. Still, the seed of doubt had been planted and I could feel my world starting to crack. The next day I was a mess. I couldn't focus on work. My mind kept circling back to that message, that name. I didn't sleep much that night either, tossing and turning, wondering what I should do. I kept telling myself I needed to confront her, but I also knew how volatile Lisa could be. She's the kind of person who can turn a simple disagreement into a full-blown fight. Still, I figured I had to get some answers. I couldn't keep living in this limbo, feeling like I was being played. That afternoon, I decided to follow her. I didn't want to jump straight into accusations, but I needed to see who this Mark was and what her plans were. I told her I was heading out for a quick errand, but I took a different route. I parked a few blocks away from her office and watched her come out. She looked hurried, texting on her phone, her lips curled into that bitchy little smirk she always had when she was hiding something. She went straight to her car and drove off, heading toward a part of town I didn't recognize. I followed at a safe distance, feeling like a damn detective in a bad movie. She pulled up outside some nondescript building, looked like a fancy coffee shop or some private club. I kept my distance, peering through a crack in a fence. That's when I saw him. Mark, tall, handsome, and way too comfortable with her. They hugged and she whispered something in his ear, then they went inside together. I saw her hand brush his chest, a move that didn't look like friendly flirting. That was fucking sex, plain and simple. I was furious. My mind was racing with betrayal and anger, but I also felt sick. How could she do this to me? After everything we'd been through, after all the promises and the years. I watched them go in and I knew I needed to get evidence, more than just a sneaky glance. I needed to see what kind of person she really was, what she was capable of. So I waited for her to come out. About an hour later, she reemerged looking flushed but composed. She got into her car and drove off. I followed her again, wondering if I should call her out right then or wait, but I knew if I did, it'd be chaos. So I kept my distance, trying to think through my next move. When I got home, I was wired, packing around, trying to process what I'd seen. I had proof now, hard proof. Lisa was cheating on me, not just a flirt or a kiss. This was full-blown betrayal. And I knew two things for sure. I couldn't ignore it anymore, and I had to act soon or I'd lose myself trying to keep this all contained. The feelings hit me like a punch in the chest, anger, disappointment, betrayal, all tangled up. I couldn't believe I'd been so blind. All those hints, the late nights, her defensive attitude, she'd been hiding this from me all along. I felt like I'd been played for a fool, and honestly, part of me wanted to smash something, scream at her, tear her apart. But I knew I had to keep my cool, at least for now. That night I sat her down. I was shaking, but I managed to keep voice steady. I told her I knew about Mark, about the affair. Her face twisted into that bitchy sneer she always had when she was lying or trying to manipulate the situation. She rolled her eyes and told me I was overreacting, that I didn't understand her, that I was just being paranoid. She called me jealous, insecure, all the usual bullshit. But I had the evidence in my hand, screenshots of her messages, her plans to meet him, the timestamp of their rendezvous. There was no denying it. She argued, of course, said it was just sex, that it didn't mean anything, that I was just imagining things. She tried to gaslight me, telling me I was crazy for suspecting her, but I wasn't buying it. I told her I'd seen enough, that I wanted her out of my house if she was going to keep lying and cheating. She yelled back, calling me a controlling asshole, saying she deserved better than a guy who was accusing her of shit she didn't do. That was when I really lost it. I told her to pack her things and get the hell out, that I wasn't going to be played the fool anymore. Watching her walk out that door was one of the worst moments of my life. She left blaming me for everything, said I was paranoid and jealous, that I was overreacting. Honestly, I felt numb. Part of me still couldn't believe I was living this nightmare. But I also knew I couldn't stay with her, not after discovering she'd been lying and sneaking around. It was like a punch to the gut every time I thought about her in that bed with that Mark, whispering, touching, having sex. How long had this been going on? Was it just a few weeks, or had it been months? Since she left, I've been trying to process this mess. It's like my mind keeps replaying those moments, trying to make sense of how someone I loved could do this to me. I'm angry, yeah, but I also feel betrayed by her lies, by her manipulations, by how easily she threw everything away. I keep asking myself if I should try to forgive or just walk away completely. Honestly, part of me wants to burn everything she touched, to make her feel just as betrayed as I do. But I know revenge is always smart. Still, I can't shake the feeling that she needs to pay somehow. So here I am, sitting in this empty house, wondering what the hell to do next. Do I file for divorce? Do I try to salvage what's left? Or do I just cut my losses and forget her? Every time I think about her, about Mark, about her sneering face as she lied, I get angrier. And then I feel sad, like I lost a part of myself to someone who never really loved me. I don't know if I'll ever trust again, but one thing, for sure, I've got to move on. Just not quite yet. Since she left, I've been living in this weird limbo. Days blur into nights, and I keep thinking about everything that's happened. The betrayal hit harder than I expected. I mean, I always thought she was just a bit bitchy, maybe a little manipulative, but I never thought she'd cheat on me. Especially not with some guy she met in a biosecure facility during our so-called global health initiative. It's such a messed up situation when I look at it now. She's out there, probably with Mark right now, doing God knows what, while I'm stuck here trying to piece myself back together. I've caught myself going over every detail, every lie she threw at me, every excuse she used to cover her tracks. It's sickening. And the worst part, she's still lying, probably to herself, telling everyone she's innocent, that I'm just insecure or jealous. I know her too well. That's her go-to move: deny, lie, manipulate. That bitchy attitude she has is just her way of controlling the narrative, making herself seem like the victim. And I fell for it for a while, but not anymore. I finally decided to look into the evidence I'd collected more carefully. I pulled out the screenshots, read through her texts with Mark. It was explicit, more than I wanted to see. There was talk about meeting up, about sex, about sneaking around behind my back. And then I found something even worse. An email she sent to him, saying she'd never felt this way about anyone and that she was done pretending for me. That was the nail in the coffin. She was in love with him, or at least convinced herself she was. That's when it really hit me. She didn't just cheat. She'd fallen for this guy. That realization made everything crystal clear. She was a bitchy, manipulative woman who was willing to throw away her marriage for a quick fling with someone who shared her obsession with viral mutations and biosecure facilities. I'm not stupid. I know her type. She's the kind who can lie effortlessly, who can twist her words so that she's always the victim. And I'm just the fool who never saw it coming. I've been trying to focus on myself lately, even though it's been tough. I work out more, try to keep busy, but my mind keeps circling back to her. I keep asking myself, did I miss the signs? Was I blind to her true nature, or was I just too in love to see the truth? Part of me wants to hate her, to make her feel the pain she's caused me. Part of me wants to cut her out completely, erase her from my life like she never existed. But deep down, I know that won't be easy. I've started thinking about the future. Do I reach out to her? Try to get some closure? Or do I just move on, forget her, and focus on fixing myself? Honestly, I'm terrified of what's next. I know she's going to keep lying, keep spinning her stories, and I don't trust her anymore. The thought of her with Mark, whatever they're doing right now, makes my stomach turn. But I also know I have to find a way to heal, even if that means just blocking her out for good. It's the only way I might stand a chance of getting past this. It's been a couple of weeks since she left, and I swear, every day feels like I'm walking through a fog. I still can't believe this is real. I keep waking up thinking I'll see her next to me, hear her bitchy comments, or feel her manipulative attitude. But it's all gone. Just this empty house and my messed up head. I've been trying to stay busy, work out more, keep my mind occupied, but the thoughts keep creeping in. About her, about Mark, about how I was so blind to her lies. I finally reached a point where I had to decide what to do. I mean, I can't keep living with this pain and anger boiling inside me. I told myself I'd confront her. One last time, get some answers, or at least hear her explanation. Not that I expected her to tell the truth, but I needed to hear her spin her lies out loud. I wanted to see her face when she denied everything like she always does, so I sent her a message, just a simple "we need to talk." She responded almost immediately with that bitchy tone she's so good at. Why? What's there to say? You already know I cheated. It's your fault for not trusting me. That was classic Lisa, deflect, blame, and turn it around. I didn't bother arguing. I told her I wanted to see her face, hear her lie to my face, and that I was sick of her bullshit. When she finally came over, she looked smug, like she thought she was winning or something. She strutted into the house, arms crossed, that bitchy sneer on her face. I didn't hold back. I laid out all the evidence, the screenshots, emails, her plans with Mark. I watched her reaction carefully. For a moment, she was silent. Then she started to lie, telling me it was all a misunderstanding, that Mark was just a friend, that she never meant to hurt me. She played the victim as usual. Said she did it because I was distant, because I didn't appreciate her, because I was just a controlling asshole. I could feel my blood boiling. I told her I didn't want her excuses, her manipulative bullshit. I told her she was a liar, a cheat, and a bitch who threw everything we had away for some guy she barely knew. And then I asked her if she even loved me anymore, or if she just used me for stability while she fucked around. She looked at me with those cold eyes, and for a second I thought she might cry or get defensive. But instead, she just smiled and said, "It's not about love, Jake, it's about passion. I wanted to feel alive, and you weren't giving me that anymore." That was the moment I realized I was done. Done with her manipulations, done with her lies. I told her she could leave. I didn't want her here anymore. I wanted her gone, out of my life for good. Watching her pack her things was almost cathartic, a mix of relief and rage. I told her I never wanted to see her again, that I'd be better off without her, and that she'd regret ever betraying me like this. Of course, she had to make it all about herself. She screamed, called me a jealous psycho, said I was too insecure to handle her. Then she stormed out, slamming the door behind her. I just stood there, staring at the empty doorway, feeling a strange mix of relief and emptiness. I felt like I'd finally taken control, but the ache inside me was still there. That betrayal cut deep, and I knew it would take time to heal. Now I'm left with this quiet house. No more lies, no more bitchy comments, no more pretending everything was normal. Just me, the wreckage of my marriage, and a mind full of questions. Was she even worth it? Did I really love her? I keep telling myself I'll get through this, that I'll find a way to move on. But part of me still hurts. Part of me still wonders if I'll ever trust anyone again after this. All I know is that I refuse to be the fool who gets played again. I'll rebuild somehow. That's what I keep telling myself. It's been a while since I kicked her out, and honestly, I'm still trying to pick up the pieces. The house feels emptier than ever, and I catch myself staring at her side of the bed sometimes, wondering how I didn't see it coming. I keep replaying everything in my mind: her lies, the sneaking around, Mark's stupid face, her cold smile when she told me she didn't love me anymore. It's a lot to process, but I've learned some things that I probably wouldn't have if this hadn't happened. First, I realize how easy it is to be blind to the truth when you're in love, even if that love is flawed or complicated. I was so caught up in the idea of us, our plans, our future, that I ignored the warning signs. Now I see that sometimes people hide who they really are, and no matter how much you want things to stay the same, they can change without warning. Trust isn't just about believing someone, it's about seeing who they really are, even when it's uncomfortable. Second, I've learned that revenge isn't always the answer, but sometimes it's necessary. Not in the way I initially wanted, burning down her life or anything crazy like that, but in taking control of my own, walking away, confronting her, saying I had enough. That's what I needed. I had to reclaim my dignity, my peace of mind. And now I realize that the best revenge I can get is just moving on, living better, and proving to myself that I don't need her to be happy. I don't need her approval or her manipulative bullshit. Third, I've become more aware of how toxic some people can be, women like Lisa, who use their charm and bitchiness as tools to control and manipulate. I see now that I can't change her or fix her. The only person I can control is myself. I've started focusing on my health, my career, my friends, things I ignored when I was caught up in our relationship. It's not about forgetting her. It's about realizing my worth and not letting someone like her take that away. Finally, I want to say this. If anyone out there is going through something similar, listen to your gut. Don't ignore those little signs, the gut feelings, the doubts, because if you do, you'll end up in a worse mess than I did. And when you finally decide enough is enough, be firm. Cut ties, move on, and don't look back, because life's too short to waste on people who don't value you. Right now, it still hurts, I won't lie, but I know I'll be okay. I've learned that healing isn't linear and some days will be worse than others, but I'm hopeful that someday I'll find someone who genuinely respects me, who doesn't lie, cheat, or manipulate. I'll rebuild my trust in people, starting with myself. And I'll always remember this lesson, the hard way, that sometimes the best revenge is just living a better life without the ones who tried to destroy it. That's the story. Not pretty, not easy, but real. And I hope someone out there reads this and realizes they're not alone. You can get through it. Trust me.